Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am BorderWise and welcome to what is hopefully a quick basic tutorial on shield projectors in From the Depths, because what other game would it be? So shield projectors have a long and turbulent history in the development of From the Depths, and I was lucky enough to be playing the game for a lot of that time. These days, well, they're actually reasonably straightforward to explain, so I should probably start doing that. Full disclaimer to start off with, I am not a fan of these things, so basically once you get through all the hurly-burly of their development in the game, is like they've seesawed wildly between being way too effective and then useless and then back and forth between them. These days they're kind of just, they're okay. They are somewhat useful, but they are entirely optional. Most craft I make do not use them because they're a pain in the ass, and like, you know, it's not 100% great result. So they are full of RNG. It's very much down to chance whether they help you at all. All you can really do is improve your chances of them doing what they're supposed to do. And speaking of, what do they do? Well, first off, if you read the block description, this component projects a shield that provides defense against shells and lasers. Press Q to interact with it. The larger the shield or the further away it is, the more power it requires for reliable use. And this is important. Shield projectors cannot run when shield rings are present on your vehicle. So you see here, ring shields. These things get turned off. So, like, you cannot use both kinds of shields on your craft, unfortunately. And I personally think that's really stupid, because neither of... If you put the two of them together, like, neither of them would be, I don't know, that wouldn't be game-breaking, because there's ways around shield projectors and ring shields. I'm not really a fan of either of them, to be honest. But yeah, so keep in mind, like, whatever shield you choose, you can only have the one. But shield projectors, if you go into the Q menu, like, for the most part, like, well, here's the color settings, and you can change the color of the shield. Let's see, that's the little shield there. It's pretty ugly, so you can mess around with there, have it whatever color you like, or you can just make it invisible, which people tend to do. But the shield settings, you could set the range of it, so we set the range, you can set the width, set the height, you can set... Whoop, actually, let's do this. You can set the azimuth angle, you can set the elevation angle, and you can set the effect strength. So, what do we call that? So the strength goes from 1 to 10. Anything below 1 turns the shield off. So if I go there, we're at 0.9. Whoop! There's the shield. Whoop! It's gone. And whoop! And whoop! 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 So basically, yeah, you cannot have a shield that's at 0.5 or something like that. It just does not work. It goes all the way up to 10, and you will notice, like, do I have enough power for this? I probably do. So if I set it to maximum range and maximum size and just turn all this off, look at the power draw from maximum power shield here. It's about 46.9, which is not much. It gets increasingly large amounts of power the higher you go, right up to, well, pretty much 10 times that. Yep, pretty much 10 times exactly. It's almost 5,000 power, but all of the things are better. So, if you look here, it's got multiple things: power available, blah blah blah, current strength, max strength regeneration. So weaker shields do not regenerate as quickly, because shields do, when they get hit, they do get weaker, and they allow more stuff through. Projectile reflect minimum chance when the effect is perpendicular to the shield, so basically if it hits it dead on, so we're here, and if something comes weep and just hits at a 90 degree, at a, I guess, 0 degree angle, I forget what it's called. But anyway, so if it hits it flat, that is a 5% chance for a strength 1 shield, and then if it's almost parallel to the shield, so if it's something like that, so if it's coming in at a steeper angle, the projectile reflect chance is greater. So angling your shields is very important. You pretty much never want them to be just flat, because that's not as good. And then you have the smoke strength equivalent, so and the laser AP reduced to blah blah blah. This is where shield projectors are actually kind of useful, because they do reduce the damage that lasers do, because they reduce the armor penetration value of lasers. So this is kind of helpful, and it's useful if you're using lasers yourself, because it means you don't smoke up your own lasers and ruin your own laser's armor penetration. And like, you can use this on faster craft. There once was a mechanic with shield projectors that the faster the craft is, the weaker they are. I do not think that's a thing anymore. I might be mistaken. Like I said, I don't use these that much. Do keep an eye on the comments. I guarantee you someone is going to correct me on that if I am wrong. And actually, it is kind of helpful, tutorial-wise, that this is literally all explained in the UI. Reflection chance roll is done once for each projectile. This means stacking shields with the same angle does not improve reflection chance. So what that means is, so you go something like this. You got 3 shields there. Those 2 extra shields at the same angle, they do absolutely nothing, because if a projectile is coming in through there, it'll only calculate like the strongest shield, so to speak. So if those 2 in the back are, you know, the same angle, but if this one in the front is something like this, that's a steeper angle, it has a higher deflect chance, so the shell coming in will only calculate for that one, and these other 2 might as well not be here. So if you're going to stack shields like this, it is helpful to make sure that they're all different angles, so you can do something. This is a very silly basic thing that I'm doing. So here, maybe you could do something like this, and then something like this. So you got this kind of stacking thing, so maybe even more than that. Let's go here, 25, and 5, and you've got this kind of layer of shield right now. So it means that no matter what angle a shell comes in, there's at least one shield which has a decent chance of reflecting the shell, which can be APS shells or cram shells or simple weapon shells. By the way, they work on all of them. In fact, the only weapons that shield projectors don't block, by the way, are, I believe, missiles and particle cannons. Let's check the... Just remind myself. Yeah, so missiles, particle cannons, and yeah, so these go straight through shield projectors, and these go straight through them, so that's not a very good defense. So yeah, like, and I guess it's worth demonstrating just here. Whoops. It's worth demonstrating here just how shields work, just to show you that yes, they do bounce off. So we're like so, and can we see everything from the front? I hope so. So here we have shields, and I believe we can do something like this. Let's set that to 0.1. Set that to 0.5, and let us spawn in a thing. I'm going to turn God mode on, and you can kind of see, hopefully, let's see, what's something that spits out lots of, yeah, the ransack, that'll do. Also, worth mentioning, let's see, is that going to do the trick? Alright, so lots of shells coming in. You see, some of them are bouncing off. In fact, I'm just going to do this quickly. And yeah. So you see, a lot of those shells are just going straight through these shields. Some of them are bouncing. Does make kind of a difference, but this is kind of why I don't like using these things that much, and it's why they're not essential for a craft. They can be helpful. There are situations where these things are quite helpful. In this particular setup, by the way, if you have a craft which faces the enemy head-on, a front-sider in other words, and it's like quite a small area to cover, shield projectors can actually be quite handy. They can deflect just enough shots to make a noticeable difference, but using kind of, if you've got like a broadsider, something that has like a long area to cover, these kind of aren't worth it. You just kind of use these things to cover the more vulnerable parts of your craft, whatever they may be, like the front of turrets, like AI compartments, something like that. You can stick these internally, and yeah, so these are best added to a craft last. So, like, if you have some spare power, like you've done everything, you've gotten the propulsion sorted, you've gotten like other forms of active defenses like laser anti-munition defense, which I have done a tutorial on, so you can totally go look at that. Yeah, lambs are just way more reliable than shield projectors, so it's better to have one of those than anything like this. Missile interceptors, because they work on missiles, stuff like that. Basically, these are the last thing on the priority list. Like, even ring shields are something you kind of have to build your craft around and like think ahead with. These things are an afterthought. You can basically slap them on if you have spare power, and you kind of want to, like, you know, just add a little bit of extra survivability to craft. So, I'm going to turn this fellow off now, and I'm going to ramp these up. Let's see here, will we have enough power for this? I hope so. And hopefully we'll see a noticeable difference. Hang on, I'm going to need to stick some more power on here. Don't mind me, just going to go find an injector engine. Here's the cube Terry. There we go. Always have, whoopsie daisy, always have spare engines handy. So ramp that up to 10. So difference between a strength 1 shield and a strength 10 shield is minimum chance 5%, max chance 10%. Minimum chance shoots up to 20%, and the max chance is 40%. So it's more than twice as good, but it uses literally 10 times the power. So that's a problem. Let's go here. And I believe that is one more over here. Whee! So now let's see here. Like, this is a lot of power. Strength 10 shields are usually kind of overkill, depending on what you're trying to go for. So now let's turn our friend the Ransack back on and see if there's any noticeable difference. And immediately you can see, honestly, I'm not really noticing much of a difference. Like, see, this is kind of why I don't use these things. These things are much stronger, supposedly, and this looks to be... This feels... That's important, it feels like if you actually counted this, you'd probably get decent results. But this feels exactly the same as the first one. Like, it's purely random. And you can't plan with random. So, I hate these things. They're just not very good. Like, and when I'm shooting at craft which have shields, like, it really doesn't make that much difference. If they're firing quickly and firing lots of stuff at you, like, enough gets through anyway. So, I'm biased, I know. I've never liked these things. I've hated them in the past when they were too good, and now they're just kind of meh. So, thank you for watching this incredibly biased tutorial. I hope it was helpful. Like, these things can be useful, but like I said, they're usually the last things you stick on your craft, because, well, I mean, look at this. It is something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 4,000, like 20,000 engine power, something silly. Yeah, more than, and these shells are still getting through for the most part. So that kind of sucks. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. Support me on Patreon or YouTube membership if you like. It really helps, and there's fun perks in it for you. Thank you to all my current supporters, and I will see you next time in From the Depths. I will be doing ring shields eventually, hopefully soon. Farewell.